So in a busy weekend that included me traveling to two TBL games in person, I also found time to catch a game online as I tuned into TBL TV for the Kokomo Bobkats versus Glass City Wranglers game on Sunday afternoon. This game, it was interesting the way it all played out. Glass City had a pretty poor first half, and it really allowed the Kokomo Bobcats to jump up to a pretty considerable lead. Nearly 20 points at halftime before Glass City ultimately went on a pretty massive run in the third quarter to make this one interesting again. But when it was all said and done, Kokomo was the more well-rounded team, and they got the job done with a victory of 102-96. Was there stars in this game? You betcha. Two of the league's biggest. And Derek Hawthorne for the Kokomo Bobcats, who notched 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, taking on Glass City's Chris Darrington, who had 43 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Game would remain close for probably the first half of the first quarter. Score would be 14-10 at that point. Kokomo would be in the lead. But the Glass City Wranglers would really ultimately get weighed down by extremely poor three-point shooting percentage in the first half, as they shot 1 for 20, as well as other guys not necessarily helping Darrington out. When the game had reached half, Darrington had contributed over 50% of his team's points. As good of a player he is, that's not necessarily a winning formula long term. And then on the contrary, Kokomo, well-rounded performance, a lot of guys getting involved, a lot of guys rebounding, considerably out-rebounded the Wranglers in this matchup. Were plus 16 in the contest. That was also a big driving force behind Kokomo's ability to get up like this early. So going into halftime, score was 55-36 Bobcats. And then once the third quarter hit, things would change and the tide would turn. Darrington eventually got that help that he needed, as Marlon Sierra from Bowling Green University and Francisco Santiago Jr. from Youngstown State University, two D1 ballers, got involved, contributed 16 points combined, those two did. And they really were the fuel to Glass City's 17-3 run to start that quarter. Glass City would eventually tie the game at 69 apiece with a minute left in the third quarter. But an interesting fact to note would be that they never actually took the lead in the second half of this contest and only led for 11 seconds in the first half. So Kokomo ends the quarter up 73-72, entering the fourth. And just as it seemed the energy was starting to sway the Wranglers' way, the Bobcats made a stand in the fourth by forcing sloppy play and bad turnovers from the Wranglers, allowing them to take an 8-point lead in the contest that they essentially would not give away for the rest of the game. Control was a big aspect of this game. Despite the fact that the Wranglers made it close on several occasions, the Bobcats were ultimately in control for this contest. And that was the difference maker. Once they got that 8-point lead in the fourth, they didn't give it up. They held their own, and they ended up winning 102-96, as they only allowed the Wranglers to lead for 11 seconds of the contest.